Hey guys, whoa, it's been a minute. I'm Alex and this is Flashbacks. I'm here today with
Will, yeah, I've been kind of having some behind the scenes medical issues and stuff going on, so I haven't been available to really record recently, but hopefully that's changing here soon. But we got to go in today.
it's okay, man. We're going back to the 90's where everything was
Yes.
chill before when you could just go onto an airplane and everything was fine. And we're everybody just relax. We're gonna go back to the 90's today. I know you all miss it. We're here. But yeah,
Yes.
we're here today to talk.
Actually,
Go ahead.
before we get into that too, so like, I hate to say this, Alex, but we're old,
Oh
right?
man, don't remind me.
So, what do you remember, I guess, about the 90s? Like, what were your favorite shows at this time, other stuff that was going on?
I know I'm gonna really shock you here, but Batman the animated series was probably probably way
Yeah.
up there. How
I
about
mean,
you?
I know you're really old. I'm kind of a spring chicken,
Oh,
but I
okay,
was
all
at
right.
least I was there for the first born in 95. So for me it was really like the start of Pokemon and like other stuff like that that
Mm.
was going on at the time. And then later on Batman the animated series, and other things of that nature. And the Spider-Man animated series of the 90s too.
Oh yeah, we gotta talk about that at some point. Maybe do like a what mean or something. Bring that back. But yeah.
And Ninja Turtles.
Ooh, yeah. The early 2000s one was good. I know it doesn't get talked
Very.
about a lot now, but that was a good show. But
Mhm.
anyway, fitting with the 90's, we're here today to talk about the pilot like it's a pilot movie. It's like an hour long
Hour
like
and a half.
an hour and a half. Wow, I didn't even know
Yeah.
that. Interesting. But yeah, I guess we'll because I want to save like the because we do have a lot of notes. I want to save like what we thought until like after this. But I guess I'll just like go into the notes and then ask you like how you felt about different parts of it. That way we can have a little bit of back and forth. But anyway. All
Sounds
right.
good.
So we're just gonna start off from the top. Pilot episode, The Flash. It opens very comic book like with cartoon lightning bolts that give way to the Flash's iconic symbol. The music score by Danny Elfman and Shirley Walker immediately reminded me of the Batman animated series, which they also scored with Danny previously scoring Batman 89 before this, which this has a lot of influence. 89 influenced this movie heavily. I don't know if you really noticed that. It feels Tim Burton-y a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely picked up on that. Tonally, it's definitely there. Um, and it just feels more, I guess, kind of like adult themed, kind of like the 89 Batman was. There's a lot more adult themed. It wasn't necessarily made for kids.
Yeah. It gets lighter later. The next
Yeah.
episode we'll be doing after this is the Trickster episode, and you want to talk about different? That episode is very different. Mark Hamill's in it. It has very much heavy vibes of Batman the Animated Series and that as well with some of the props and everything. So we got that one to look forward to. Actually, look behind the curtain a little bit. I recently ordered the Blu-ray version of this show. So like I'm looking forward to seeing how good that looks. That was a recent they announced this recently that they were going to be doing like a Blu-ray, like going back in the film and restoring it and everything. So I'm be interested to see. The effects probably aren't going to look great because whenever they restore stuff, it just usually makes the effects look worse. But
Yep.
like we'll see. Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this. Originally, the role of the Flash wasn't offered to John Wesley Shipp. Originally, it was offered to an actor, Richard Burgi, before it went to him. Funnily enough, Burgi would go on to play an antagonist in a later episode. He plays the Deadly Nightshade. It's like a lethal version of Nightshade is basically like the Shadow, kind of, if you've heard of the Shadow before. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of like that, like a darker Batman, like kind of like a lethal Batman a little bit. But yeah, well, we can watch that one for fun. We're not necessarily gonna even
Yeah.
review that one, but like we can watch that. I do enjoy the Deadly Nightshade episodes; those are always fun. But yeah, there's a superhero called Nightshade that predates the Flash by a few decades. Um, this show was heavily influenced, like we talked about, by Tim Burton's Batman and his world. Central City looks closer to Gotham City in these opening scenes as a panicked mother yells at her kids to get into the house. It's a little darker, right? Like I know you kind of addressed that earlier with the whole not for kids thing.
Yeah, there's definitely some more adult themes in there. There's a lot more references to like sex and stuff like that. I remember in the opening scene around the dinner table. Barry says something to Iris about the I think ginseng tea and the aphrodisiac part and all that stuff. Like I was like, oh, okay, this
Yeah,
wouldn't happen on the CW, which is kind of strange to think about too. But yeah,
that is weird because they definitely do go dark, but I feel like it's a different kind of dark. This feels like almost like a lost like 90's Flash movie or something. Like it definitely feels like
it
this could
feels
have
like a
been a
movie.
movie. Yeah, and it actually was packaged as a movie back when they used to do that, where they would like edit two episodes together. And so for this one, it was called the Flash movie. And then they
Yeah,
had like the Trickster, where it was like Revenge of the Trickster, and it was like two episodes basically pasted together as like a movie. But yeah, like I kind of miss when they did that. That was kind of cool. Kind of wish they'd do more of that.
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so the motorcycle gang is the primary antagonist of this episode with their leader Pike. I like their jackets with the blood drop on the back. What did you think of the villains in this episode?
Um, Pretty generic. I had a hard time understanding their motivation overall for everything. I understand Pike's motivation with what he was looking to do. I don't understand how he inspired this cult of followers to also go along with whatever his, I guess, master plan was. Yeah,
I don't think he had much of one other than getting Barry's brother. I think that's about where it began and ended, honestly, other than it
yeah,
causing like mayhem and stuff. But the opening scene of them blowing up vehicles is really well shot and effective. I like how dark yet still colorful it is with like the one with the scenery in the background, but two with like these glowing bombs that they have in the episode.
yeah.
That was cool.
Very reminiscent of other like action properties of the time as well, like a Lethal Weapon and other stuff like that. The way some of it was shot.
Definitely. And then what else? Oh yeah. So one of the reasons the show was canceled, besides competing with The Simpsons and The Cosby Show, was its ever-moving time slot and its budget. Each episode cost 1.5 million, which was the largest budgeted show of that time.
Wow. I
Yeah.
wonder, do we have, can we pull up like a inflation calculator to see what that would cost
Yeah,
today?
yeah. We can totally do that.
Out of curiosity, just to compare to see real quick.
Definitely. Yeah, I can pull that up. I'll just put 1.5 billion in today's money.
or 1.5 million,
Yeah. Or yeah, million. I put billion. Oops. Oh yeah, million. That's right. Million.
just for the listeners to get an idea.
Yeah. Okay, inflation calculator. All right. If it's 1.5, should I just put two?
Yeah, we can round up. That's fine.
Okay. It's a lot of zeros. It's one six zeros, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And I'm gonna say 90. I think it was like 91 because this came out before um like this show came out before trying to put in the inflation calculator. Oh, it's 2003 it's 23,2303283 in 2024 is how much that would be.
Okay, so basically it was like a $2 million budget today, so the budget would have doubled.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's a
Okay.
lot, man, for that time, especially.
Oh yeah. Well, how much does an episode of the CW Flash cost? I wonder.
Probably not as much. I can look into that. Hold on. Uh Budget. Since we're in season one, we'll just or budget.
Yeah, it
Um,
looks like they would do a full budget for a season of around 50 mil.
oh, so
So about 1.5 million. Yeah.
yeah, not bad. Um, so anyway, it's interesting though. So there's some additions in this that are different than like for Barry's family. Barry has a brother and both of his parents in this. This was before they changed the origin later. His cop brother is named Jay as an homage to Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash. What'd you think of his brother?
I actually like the character a lot. I think it added a different dynamic to the Barry that I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it gave him a different dynamic, definitely. Because I think for the most part, other than in the CW show, which like he still is an only child to an extent, but I guess if you're counting, I well, no, yeah, because Iris, and then also like if you're counting them as siblings, which we do, and then what's his name? His brother. I'm blanking right now. Not his brother, but like her brother, Wally.
I think he kind of to me felt more like Joe, as if Joe were his brother instead of his dad in that show. He played that kind of role, that archetype
I could
to
kind
me.
of see that. Um, so Iris is only appears in this episode. Let's go
Really?
ahead and yeah, get that out of the way. She doesn't appear in any other episode but this. And it's different from the comics in that she's a self-absorbed artist instead of a journalist. So like what did you
Oh,
think of
okay.
Iris?
So, and I'll say this: I don't think they've made a good live action Iris yet. Um, and it's funny. So in this one, she's a self-absorbed artist, and in the one that we're watching, she's a self-absorbed journalist.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
flip it.
yeah, doesn't really change. I can't really say too much about the movie version of her because she was only in there for like 5 minutes
Yeah.
with Kiersey Clemens. But yeah,
I wasn't she was decent. That movie was not great, but I guess the it's better than how she was in the Snyder cut where it was just
yeah.
like her frozen in air and him like grabbing a hot dog or something. I
I
don't
will
know.
say I actually enjoyed the Flash movie.
I
Like
liked it.
I could rewatch it right now. I actually liked it. I'm
I
not
gotta
in
check
the
it out again.
people that bash it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so this Barry's dad sucks in this, constantly lifting up Jay with praise while dissing Barry. Did you notice that too?
Very, very much so. But I think it hits him later on when they're at Jay's grave,
Hmm.
and he's very clear, like Barry, you're all that I've got now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um, I like that Jay doesn't feed into his dad's toxic behavior because he's always talking about, oh, real cops this, real cops that. And him and Barry repeat his cop mantra back at him to his annoyance. I actually kind of like that scene. Like Jay's
Yeah.
like on his side all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Dark Riders are the name of the gang. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier. I'm just putting that out there just so
Yeah.
people know. Because I don't know how many, unlike the Flash CW show, this show isn't like it's available in places if you look, but it's not like on streaming anywhere. So I feel like some people might just watch this without watching the episodes. That's why I'm going to try to include as much context as I could.
Yeah, hopefully it ends up on Max sometime soon with
Yeah.
all the other DC stuff. I'm not sure what the licensing stuff is going on with it, but
I don't know. Well, this show definitely does have a lot of elements of Batman the Animated Series. Like a lot of the stuff that would go on to that kind of influenced this. And so there's even a character later on that's very Harley Quinn like. Trickster has a sidekick named Prank that's like a girl that like becomes obsessed with him kind of thing and like
yeah,
breaks him out and everything. Sound familiar?
yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Um, so Barry has to leave to check out a crime scene, leaving his dog Earl for Jay to take home, but not before his dad can make another mean-spirited joke at Barry's expense about his forensic job. This guy cannot catch a break in this episode, man. Barry goes through it in this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I like that the mom stands up for him and Jay tries to console his brother. Barry's birthday gift for his brother, the medal from high school, and the subsequent hug are really nice. I really like that you can tell that they really care about each other. It was just a nice scene. Did you notice this character showed up? So we have, and she's a lot less likable in this, but we do have Linda Park show up in this as an annoying news reporter that keeps harassing Barry and his brother throughout the episode.
Yes, that was a fun callback. Fun to see, especially because we're literally just now seeing Linda Park in the Flash as we're watching the CW show as well.
Definitely. And then so she harasses Barry. Um they immediately brush off him and his buddy, coworker Julio, who as soon as they find out he's not in homicide, Barry, like basically Barry can't catch a break. What did you think of Julio? I like that he kind of stuck up for him as well, Barry.
Well, Julio, also known as Mr. Williams from Boy Meets World, he was actually I liked him. To me, he was this show's version of Cisco, is what I got from it. Basically, he played that
Definitely.
kind of archetype for me.
Yeah, I like it. It blew my mind when I found out that like because I saw this show and I had obviously seen Boy Meets World like countless times before. It blew my mind when like mind connected those two and I was like, wait, because I think the dreads
That's
threw me
him, right?
off. Yeah, the
Yeah.
dreads kind of threw me off a little bit where I'm like, wait a second, and then I'm like, oh yeah, look, there it is. But yeah, that was cool. He's great. I like him in most of the things I've seen him in. I know he also does go on to appear in the CW show, like as like kind of like in a throwaway role kind of thing. So we'll have to keep an
Yeah.
eye out for him whenever he shows up. But the right what the writing of the show is very 90s quippy and sitcom like in places. Did you kind of feel that too when you were going through it?
Yeah, I kind of missed that writing. I'm actually going back through and rewatching a couple old series from this sort of era, 80s, 90s. Like yeah, I've told you the other day I'm rewatching not rewatching, but watching for the first time Dragon Ball and other
Ooh,
stuff like that. And so I kind of missed that writing. A lot of the shows from that time frame felt more you can turn your brain off and I just want to entertain you kind of moment. You know what I
definitely.
mean? Which is
Yeah.
really good.
Well, I feel like a lot of those shows too, they knew at the time because it was like cable and they didn't really, it's not like now we have binging. They knew that a lot of people were that would watch it, it'd probably be their first time watching it. And so they didn't really try to connect each episode to each other. So you could almost just pick a random, like pick episode 20 of season 8 or something like that and basically have an enjoyable time. I feel like that still has a place now and probably needs to come back.
That's a good point. And we don't really have like true event television anymore where people have to be there for this episode and like watch it week to week
Yeah. Because there's so
because everything
much now.
releases all at once now.
Yeah, or it has the weekly thing, and then if you have that streaming service, there's just so many things trying to get our attention these days.
Yep.
But yeah. We get some foreshadowing with the storm rumbling. Biggest electrical storm is on its way as they work in the lab, which I love the look of it. It's super 90s, like their little crime lab and everything with like the squared off like computers and like just all the general vibe of it I really like.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We also meet a reoccurring side character on the TV they're watching named Joe Klein, who is leaning into the police chief about the Dark Riders situation. Joe Klein's an asshole. He's a reoccurring character, but he's one of those guys where it's just like, ah, this guy again. Like he's one of those. But so Barry has like a short fuse in this. I don't know if you noticed that too. I feel like the Barry in the CW one is a little bit more leveled out. This one is very quick to like lose his temper, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, this Barry, I think what I appreciate about him is even just through this one episode, I see his intelligence and the fact that he is a cop, the CSI investigator. I know that's a very integral part of the Barry Allen character in the comics as well for some of the stuff in the CW show. we don't always see that side of Barry because they're so focused on what the Flash is doing that they don't really
Fair.
show Barry in the lab a lot too, which is a different element, but it feels on par for the time frame.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so-
And sometimes they get distracted with the side characters though too, to be fair.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So Barry doesn't eat much. There's like a little line about you want my sandwich, that's why you bought it, is what he says to Julio. I like that little bit. And then it's funny because that's about to change. They pull an all-nighter and Julio falls asleep. I think it's nice that Barry sends him home and tells him he'll continue working. Barry definitely has something to prove, and his dad, to his dad, so he stays behind and works. Yeah. And oh. What'd you think of the some of the scenery? Like they had these painted like murals in certain parts where like there was these very like just almost like it's out of time, like just these very elaborate paintings on random walls and stuff like that. Did you notice that when you were watching it?
Yeah, so it actually kind of took me back. I always enjoy this era because I think architecture and art and stuff was just kind of better and more prominent back then. Whereas
Mhm.
now, a lot of the architecture and buildings that we have built are more like everything looks the exact same and there's no real like style and pop to it. And this kind of had that, like, the scenery around everything was different and
Yeah.
it drew you into it. It complemented the show as opposed to a lot of the CW shows. You just have a bunch of very like brick bland buildings that kind of all look the same as they're running through the town, you know?
Yeah, this one definitely I think that they go for more realism probably in the CW stuff, at least with the backgrounds and stuff like that. This one felt like you were like stepping into a comic book kind of thing with just how everything, like the lighting, how everything was kind of laid out, and I really appreciate it. It's almost like the comic page was like bleeding onto it with like some of like the pink, like pinks and the blues
Uh-huh.
and everything. I really
I love
liked
when
it.
they do that. I think other good examples of that is like Matt Reeves, the Batman in 2022, and what it looks like James Gunn is doing with the Superman movie from some of the set photos.
I
I
can't
can't wait to
wait.
see what Metropolis looks like in that way. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait for a trailer, just anything. Give it to us, James Gunn. Come on. But so Barry gets struck by lightning after he's doused in chemicals. This is probably the most comic book accurate version of that because I know in the CW show we get that, but it's like it's slightly different. This is probably the closest to the original comic books I think I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some parallels, by the way, with this, like between this and the CW pilot. Like with the lightning, you see the lightning actually, like because the lights keep going on and off. Like Julio comes up and checks on him, and then like the you see basically the lightning is still moving around his body. And it even glows in the red flashing room when the light drops out. Really cool atmospheric stuff. Like, just seeing all the lightning, it kind of definitely reminded me of the pilot for the CW with the one lightning going down like the side of his face and everything. It kind of gave me
Yeah.
those vibes. But so Barry's fine, much to his family's surprise. He didn't go into a coma in this one for like a few a few months so they could figure out a show or something.
Yeah, he was just right away fine. Like, I got to get back to work. The doctor's like, well, I can't lock you up here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay.
And
That's
then
fine.
yeah, and then like I said, Barry's seemingly fine. Doctor's like, can't lock you up, like you were saying. He wants to study him though due to the chemical exposure, but Barry doesn't care. And then Henry, of course, uses this as an opportunity to compare himself to his son, saying he understands wanting to get back out there, relating it to one of his cop stories. Jay seems more like a father here and wants him to rest. Iris seems unfazed, just asking to go get breakfast with a crack about him saving the world. And could they just get breakfast first? Like she doesn't really seem to care or really be that concerned with Barry at all.
I strongly dislike this version of Iris because so Barry's obviously having all these health issues and other things going on, just got struck by lightning, and her total response to all of that is, I don't think we should see each other anymore. Pretty much. Like
There we
That,
go.
that uh,
Oh man. Yeah, I will listen. I'm gonna watch my mouth about the CW one now because look, we have seen worse and it's the 90s one.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
like any Iris so far. I don't really remember Iris from like the Justice League animated show and stuff like that. So I'll have
She's
to go
not in
back
it.
and oh, she's not? Okay, good.
No, because that's Wally. It's a
That's
different
right. It's
Flash.
a different Flash. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even think we see Linda in that one. But anyway, because Linda is his like kind of Iris in the comics. So Barry
Yeah.
stole something else from from Wally again. So, but yeah. The mom seems genuinely concerned, which I appreciate. Iris talks exclusively about herself at at the diner and rejects Barry's engagement proposal. I love you. Isn't that enough for now? Like,
Yeah.
yikes. Um, and then going to further what we just said earlier, I think we found the worst Iris.
Yeah, it's just like I'm 25. I don't want to think about getting married right now.
She is not 25, by the way.
I know. Neither of them look 25.
Yeah, he is at most in his 30s. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I know back then people looked older, but
It's a hard 25, man. Like on
yeah,
both
that's a
of them.
hard 25 because he has a brother, which they explicitly state in the opening scene is 44. It's
No.
like you're telling me they have a 20-year gap between each other? Like,
That guy looks like Steve Martin, man. He has like white hair and he's only in his
yeah.
40s. I'm not trying to roast him. I did like the guy's performance, but like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was actually low key the best actor in this episode for a lot of his scenes that he was in.
I do love John though. John's great as
Oh, he
Barry.
is. He is, except for when his brother dies and he yells out.
Yeah,
That was terrible.
we'll get there. Trust me, we will
Yeah.
get there. So I love the Dark Riders hideout. You mentioned TMNT earlier. They have like multiple TV monitors, moody lighting, some arcade machines. Did you ever watch the first TMNT movie? It gave me
Yep.
like Shredder vibes from there, like very heavily. Like I love the look of this place.
That was exactly how I felt about it,
Yeah,
actually. And it also reminded me of I guess to an extent, the Batman Returns movie with the penguin with their little underground everything. Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah, definitely. I love when I get back to that superhero movies and TV shows. Like we like when it's kind of like very like either atmospheric or it looks cool like this. Like do more of that. Not everything has to be like super realistic and it's not going to take us out of it. It's comic books. Like just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We meet Rick, one of the gang members who isn't long for this world. He wants to abandon Pike, who he thinks is insane, and leave with Lila, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut to the chase with this. He funnels money, and then Lila goes and snitches on him, and then what'd you think of the whole execution scene with the bike and the bomb on the end? That was kind of cool, right? Even though it didn't make any sense.
It made absolutely no sense. But it's the 90s, so it's okay.
The 90s, but yeah.
Yeah. It's a different
So
time.
yeah, definitely. So Pike is kind of like small size wise, but has enough presence to make up for it. He looks up to leaders like Genghis Khan and uses a modified version of, like we said, one of his execution methods. Basically the guy dies on a speeding bike. But like I liked Pike in this. He was definitely he comes back for like one other episode after this, which is a time travel story, actually, where Barry goes to the future, which is pretty cool. And I'm not going to spoil too much, but there is a quasi Flash museum. So like they had that there. It's very like Mad Max-y in the future. I kind of like we might have to do that episode. This is a good
Yes,
show, man.
I'm down.
But yeah. And so I liked Pike in this. Very much like he served the purpose that he was supposed to, being like, you know, this is kind of more of a revenge story than it is just like a superhero versus a villain. Barry gets kind of dark in this. There's some moments we'll definitely get into, but like it's definitely a different kind of story than we usually see with the Flash. More vengeful, I think.
Yeah, I was interested to see, and from what I can understand about this show, really outside of the Trickster, they don't have too many like Flash real comic book villains either
Hmm.
that are very popular. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a different type of villain.
Well, also like one of the things behind the scenes that was going on is they started out darker and then once they started losing like viewers and stuff, like I think the network or maybe they were just like, well, let's just lighten it up or something. And so that's why they went lighter.
Yeah.
There's definitely a transition about halfway through the season where it gets a little bit more silly and traditional comic booky, but you'll see that when we get to the Trickster episode. But yeah. So Dr. Lawrence, Barry's doctor, had a final test, and upon hearing the results, Barry, upon hearing the results, says that he didn't authorize that and refuses treatment. Um, Julio asked about it showing what a concerned friend he is. I really like Julio in this. I thought he was a good friend, good co-protagonist, good stuff.
Yeah.
He has cell damage. It got sent off to a specialist at Star Labs. Apparently, someone died there last year. Star Labs can't seem to escape accidents like this in either universe, man.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because I guess I don't want to skip too far ahead, but Tina kind of also hinted that she had seen something like this before at
Hmm.
one point too. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, Star Labs is like a magnet for craziness, I feel like. So, um, While out with Earl, Barry accidentally super sped into a bush and comes up completely exhausted from the burst of energy and goes on to eat a shit ton of food in his apartment because of his metabolism increasing. What'd you think of
Yes.
I guess this is a good enough time as any to mention it. What'd you think of the super speed effects in this?
So for the time I actually liked it. It reminded me of how they did Tom Welling in Smallville for a lot of it, but obviously in Smallville was a little bit better because the
Yeah.
time had advanced.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do super speed in that time frame with the limited technology they had available, I think they did really well with it.
It looks pretty good. It's definitely like the super speed effect. I thought it was a little cheesy, but like it's charming. It kind of fits the vibe and fits the general feel of this episode. I feel like because it has a little bit of like campiness to it a little bit.
Yeah, I also like that they immediately address like, okay, well, if he runs at this speed, there are going to be things that are going to happen like clothes breaking, catching on fire, and your metabolism, and you got to be always be hydrated. They really they hammer that home in this.
Yeah. And I don't think they even really did that much. I know Barry was hungry at points in the CW one. And like obviously the clothes burning is something that they started doing at first and then abandoned a few
Yeah,
seasons. It's like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. But yeah, like I like that real world aspect to something that's so like crazy like this. This
agreed. It's
Barry,
weird to say because I know this one's intended to be more campy,
mhm.
but at times this show feels more grounded.
Yeah, I could
So
see that.
yeah,
It's more, I think it's more like adult in some ways like because the other one is very much can feel high school sometimes because that's the demographic that they're I know we
yeah,
enjoyed
that
it too
it's
but
a
that's
CW.
the
Yeah,
that's the demographic they're aiming for but
yeah.
yeah this Barry is actually more muscular than Grant's like his like I know some of it is padding but even when like you saw like his shirt off and stuff like this guy is like jacked
Yeah,
compared to Barry.
I agree. I mean, it was the 90's again, and that's how your male lead, your superhero, is supposed to look at that time. And I
Definitely.
think he did a good job at preparing for the role and getting his body to look that way.
Yeah. Barry forgot about Iris's art show, and with his flat tire, he decided to run there. The head-on look as he runs is so silly, but still fun. I know you remember this. Him accidentally super speeding to the beach and into the water was a well done practical effect. I love this whole scene. This is one of the things I remember when I think back on this show.
Yeah, then he was like, well, "We can talk about it later. Just come get me." And she just hangs up.
Yeah. like kind of
Can
still
we
in
talk about
space.
Big Earl too, man? The
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
The dog is fantastic in this, and I don't know if they ever introduced anything like that later on in the CW show, but they should have. I feel like Barry needs a dog.
It'd be fun to give him a little, a little something extra, like it endears him to the audience a little bit. Like it'd be a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Um, so he ran 30 miles to Crystal Beach, and later immediately passed out under a lifeguard stand. His shredded clothes are a nice effect. I like that they went to the extra effort of doing that for this. And then, like you said, the can you give me a ride home thing? Um, we meet Tina McGee over the phone, the one Star Labs employee who the doctor had referred Barry to. He wants to meet her now, given the recent events.
Yes, the
Um,
same Tina McGee who also plays Tina McGee in The Flash
that's right.
2014.
I can't wait till we get to that episode coming up. I don't think I haven't really seen her in anything else besides The Flash, to be honest with you. I'm sure she had like a career. There's probably stuff I didn't watch, but like, like she's a
Yeah.
good actress. I like her. I like her as like a love interest though too.
Yeah,
Um,
I will say they actually do the chemistry pretty well between Barry and Tina in this.
yeah. I was almost trying to reach into the screen and like push their faces together to make them
Yeah,
kiss. I was like, just do it
I
already.
I like it a lot because I don't see the chemistry between Barry and Iris whatsoever in this. Really.
Finally, we get chemistry somewhere, but yeah.
Yeah.
So they meet at Sunday at 10 at 50 Garrick Avenue, a cool Easter egg to Jay Garrick. There's like a lot of these, and they weren't really doing that back then. So it's you can tell that there were fans behind the scenes that were like sneaking those little references in and everything.
Agreed.
Yeah. Star Labs is much less impressive here, looking like a fairly normal building from the outside. And then the inside looks cooler, but like the outside, I was like, that's it. It's just it's just an office
Yeah.
building.
And somehow she's the only employee there.
I mean, we didn't really question it when it was on the CW one. There was like
That's fair.
four
That's fair.
employees. I'm
That's
just
fair.
trying to keep it 100, man. But um I do like the meet cute of Barry and Tina. You're not what I expected. Then we're even. Like I like that whole thing, setting up their whole will they, won't they dynamic of the series. And I
Yeah.
spoilers. I like, by the way, wait, you haven't seen that yet. Do you care if I spoil this? It's just how they end up.
I don't care.
Okay.
You-
They end up married in the thing like the 90's Flash shows up later. And like he mentions, my wife Tina used to say to me, so like they actually do get together outside of the
Oh,
show.
cool.
But still, yeah. Which actually made me happy because I remember watching these back in the day. And then like, that payoff is really cool. All right.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So I can relate to that from the episode that I've seen where they bring back Clark from Smallville and him and Lois are together and kids and stuff. Yeah. So I
Definitely.
understand.
So this is just a quote. Star Labs isn't exactly children's hospital. You guys have unorthodox experience, secret government contracts, rumors mostly. Well, one of your researchers was killed last year. Is that a rumor? No, that's true. He was my husband. Ouch, Barry. Barry's a dick in this one, man.
Yeah.
He just goes in on Tina for like really no reason at the end of the day. I don't know. Weird. I like that Barry lists off a laundry list of chemicals he was exposed to upon Tina's questioning, and she's impressed. Like the whole, all that. And then he's like, all this. Cool line. They kind of look at each other, and you can tell like they're kind of into each other after that whole thing, like that show of knowledge. Like it's kind of cool. That's more than just like how he looks and everything that's like appealing to her. Like it's his mind.
Yeah, kind of like how Barry and Felicity were at first when they first introduced them together.
Definitely. I like the mood lighting in the lab. It's very 90's, with the opaque cube glass that all businesses seemingly used to have. Do you ever notice that? Like they used to have like that weird like opaque like glass cube thing, and it just at one point America was just like, we're done with this, and it went away. You don't ever see that anymore.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. Now that you mentioned that.
Yeah. It's funny that he destroys the the treadmill with his speed. I also like the lo-fi CGI model on the computer screen whenever it's like showing him like move and everything. Like that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. His speed affects his blood sugar, like we kind of said before. Cool practical limitation. I like that Tina wants his treatment to stay between them due to the government possibly getting involved and taking him for experiments. I know that gave you Smallville vibes.
Very much so. It also kind of reminded me of General Eiling, I guess, because I've been watching The Flash more recently. But yeah.
I could see that too, definitely. And then the whole line, you've been reading too many comic books. They have to have one of these lines in every
Yeah.
one of these things. And then like the whole thing about her husband dying. He apparently worked on an enzyme himself that the government wanted to test on subjects, but he refused. They wanted him to test it before it was finished. They had threatened to cut funding. Um, and then like that's basically all we get. Like David comes up at certain points, but like it seems like he tested it on himself and then ended up dying from it, basically. But yeah. Interesting that the Flash wants to be like, or Barry at this point, because he's not even the Flash yet, wants to be rid of his powers. I found that kind of interesting. Maybe just because it makes him different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we're never really given a reason.
I guess he just wants everything to kind of go back to normal too. Because at
Yeah.
this point, I think he's more focused on getting back to Iris and making things up to her.
Yeah. Um, so him speed cleaning his apartment is a fun gag, but he hasn't perfected it, inadvertently shredding some things. I also like that his shoes are on fire. Like that whole scene was kind of fun. Like I like
Yeah.
that.
I like that, and I wish they would have done that in the 2014 Flash TV series.
That would have been fun. Iris comes over just to break up with them. I know that later on, like they kind of get together, but like she literally just came over to break up with them, and I was like, "Bye, Felicia," basically. So Pike almost kills Lila before she tells him about a discovery with the task force. He looks kind of like an off-brand Stallone here. He kind of gives me Stallone vibes a little bit, man.
Okay. I think
Yeah,
I could see that.
yeah. Um, they're showing them on the TV. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh yeah, they're showing them on TV at 9. We find out that Pike is Nicholas Pike, a former motorcycle officer who wrote the handbook. The handbook's burnt, which we find out later was because of like basically his partner Jay turning him in about like him doing all these like corrupt deals and everything. Um and then like basically it gets revealed that that's mostly what this is about. It's like a revenge quest for him. I think it turns into that. I don't think originally it was supposed to be that, but you know, it seems
It
like
definitely turns into
yeah,
it.
because Pike seems like he's kind of like just whatever comes to him, he goes for. Like it doesn't seem like he does much planning, really. Uh,
Yeah, and then he sees him on the TV one day and he's like, "This is the guy who took everything from me. We're gonna kill him next."
it's exactly. Wow, it's almost like you were there. But
Yeah.
oh yeah, they have a lead from Julio, a hair sample of one of the Dark Riders. Jay's meeting with the head of the task force. Barry congratulated him, but not before a crack about not wishing it on his worst enemy and wishing him good luck. I just thought that was a nice little scene.
Yeah.
Um, I like the Art Deco look of the task force uniforms. They have these very like bulky, kind of like, very like almost armor plating looking thing going on. Like I liked how militaristic and how like kind of old timey they looked. I thought it was a cool design choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Riders ambush them in a drive-by. I like that Barry super speeds over to get him covered from the incoming bullets. The blood spats on the police sign on the building are a cool touch. And then Linda Park is back, this time to ask pointed, humiliating questions to Jay, but Barry cuts him off as Jay calls them vultures, saying interview is over. We're gonna bury these guys, and you can quote me on that. Jay signed his death warrant.
Yep.
Yeah.
We literally just mentioned that too.
Yeah. Pike reveals he's yeah, like we said before. The next part is very familiar to CW Flash fans with the powers test, this time on a racetrack instead of an airstrip. What did you think of the scene? It so reminded me of that.
Oh, it reminded me a lot of it, and I think it was intentional. Even the outfit that they put him in and everything, like it, it was definitely in the 2014 show meant to be reminiscent of this scene.
Definitely, because I remember when that show was coming out, like the when I was seeing trailers and stuff, and I'd seen the '90s show before, and I'm like, wait, they're like they're like having callbacks to this, like this is so cool, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What did you think of his what is it called? Soviet prototype DC suit or DC diving suit that they borrowed? It doesn't even look like that. I could buy the CW one, I think a little bit more, honestly.
I will say, oh, I agree with you. I could buy the CW one a lot more, but for the time, at least. So how do I put this? In the final scene, are the final scenes of this episode where we see him like fully flashed out in the uniform.
Hmm.
I think it actually looks really, really good in the dark lighting for
Yeah.
everything. It's only when I see it in the bright lights that I'm like, okay, this is like the Christopher Reeve Superman costume. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Less convincing, huh?
yeah,
Yeah. So like she says the your clothes keep burning up, so it's either this or you run around buck naked is what she says with the smile checking him out. Like I know you noticed that too.
yes,
It's a good little scene. The scene of him running around the track is fun and has almost stuck with me. Like it basically has stuck with me since I saw it. I like that he holds her and runs her across the track. You can see the tension, like the sexual tension on screen.
yep.
I forgot that he picked her up at one point, like that whole thing. Like I'm trying to think if that ever happened in the CW show. If not, it should have. Like I know obviously he picked up Felicity, but like was there ever a moment where like the like you see him running and like holding her and everything? Like that would be kind of
Not that
cool.
I recall. Yeah, but
Yeah. I guess we'll
it's
find out, won't we? But he's recovering faster from running. I love Julio's shipping of him and Tina. Her idea of a cool date is a trip to the lab. Marry her. Great stuff. All right. So the hair belonged to Pike, Jay's partner, who was kicked off the force 3 years prior to running a hijacking operation. He was always a bad person. So like just to give people, just in case they haven't seen it, like what actually went down, basically.
yeah,
Um, Jay caught on, set up a decoy. Pike ran and Jay chased him. Pike's bike crashed and burned, which is probably why the book was burnt. It would naturally explain the scars. He escaped the prison hospital, hasn't been seen since. So Barry runs to warn Jay about the trap set up for the escort. Barry is too late to save his brother. Pike already killed him. I forgot he didn't have the full suit yet and still just had the red bodysuit on. Somewhat unintentionally funny.
no, that was hilarious actually. Seeing him just walk around, just showing his face and everything.
Yeah, with the little like the tight
You
red suit. And
really doing this?
we can get to the part that I know both of us had. I know some about you. I know that the Revenge of the Sith is one of your favorite Star Wars movies. So there's a very similar moment in this where where Barry loses it. And I'll let you do the honors. How does he do it?
No. With literally no emotion on his face whatsoever.
Yeah, it's rough. I just thought it was
Yeah.
way too melodramatic too.
Oh, it absolutely was.
Yeah. Barry's dad, so we follow up. There's the funeral for Jay. Barry's dad is toxic masculinity, saying he didn't want to cry in front of the cops, instead crying privately at his funeral. Like, dude, like get over yourself, man.
Yeah.
And then Barry wants to go after Pike himself, even if his dad doesn't believe in him. Barry's outburst at Tina was uncalled for. He wants a suit with the hood and gloves so he can go on a revenge mission against Pike. You're still worried about your experiments, your life's work? I'm worried about you, is what she says to him as like a like, basically establishing they both like care about each other. I thought that whole like
Yeah.
back and forth was a good scene.
Agreed fully.
Oh, I love this too, this quote. You know that symbol Pike has, that blood dot? Well, I have one of my own, and I like the dialogue here. I thought that was just really cool, like trailer dialogue where the Flash is like forming into the hero we all know. Actually, not really though, because he's all vengeful in this one.
Mhm.
I don't know. He's not really a
He's
hero, I
not a
guess, until
hero
the end.
yet.
Yeah. Um, oh yeah. The glowing green bombs, like I said earlier, are cool looking. I like how the Flash stops them unseen, to them even taking apart a motorcycle. Like I like that whole thing where he's like foiling them and they're not even like they're like what's happening kind of
Yeah.
thing, like they're just confused. Um and we already talked about the suit. The red blur looks so cool contrasted with the moody lighting. I thought that effect was done well. Like you said, like it shot at night looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. I'm more a fan of the red blue blur, but I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So they can't outrun the Flash except for when Lila stabs him in the leg. It's his first night out. I'm willing to overlook some like shortcomings, basically.
Yeah. The budget went all to effects.
Yeah. Tina is original Team Flash coming out to check on him in the truck and everything and communicating with them. Um, and then Murph and Bellows give him a ride home. The comedic duo of the show. They have a lot more funny scenes later. Like you think this is like they're being funny in this. Like they basically once the show goes way more comedic, they start focusing on Murph and Bellows a lot more. But I don't know. I like them.
I'm
What'd you
looking forward
think?
to that. I'm looking forward to that. I like the comment about the red boots and everything.
Yeah, it
Oh,
said,
who ate
"Hey,
all the donuts?
yeah, say, cut him a break. How'd you act if you were hit by lightning?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you like it though. So Tina followed him back to his place and she was monitoring him for the readings. Iris waiting up to talk things over only to see Tina is funny and somewhat cliche, but this is just a fun scene. I like this scene.
Yeah.
I like that they diffuse the misunderstanding and Tina respects her to leave and says she'll come check up tomorrow. Shows she's really respectful and a good person.
Yeah, I like the way that they handle that immediately because that cliche scene we've seen a lot before, and a lot of them, the other person just doesn't speak up, and like
Yeah.
the girlfriend or whatever just leaves, and it becomes a whole thing. But they just address it right away, and that's a lot more realistic, I think.
Definitely, like the whole like if someone would just have a conversation, this problem would be solved in like 2 seconds, basically.
Yeah,
That whole thing. So Iris is somewhat sympathetic to Barry, but is really only over there to hook up. He withdraws because he feels differently about them. She was gonna say yes if it was the only way they'd stay together, but seems a bit too happy when he says he doesn't want to get married anymore. Red flags, man. So they get back together, and he's fast in bed as well, as well as much to Iris's disappointment.
yeah, and he had to go get that Thai food.
Oh yeah. So Barry fucks confirmed.
Very does fuck.
So Barry interrogates Lila. I know you really did see a demon. He was as red as blood and fast like a flash. What do you think of this more? It's not even like Batman. It's just more like the Flash in this is more of like a ghost or something. Like he's kind of creepy in this. I kind of like it.
Yeah, I actually like this a lot more. I wish more heroes at this time frame I think were kind of that way.
Hmm.
Um, whereas now it's I don't know how to describe that, but basically the Flash of that time frame it's more of like a cop procedural where he has to play some good cop bad cop in there, and that's his chance to like you said, he's not a full-fledged hero yet, I guess is what I'm saying.
He's still figuring it
He's
out.
very vengeful. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. So upon her not telling him anything, he orders the officer to strip her and send the clothes to the crime lab. Kind of don't like how he delivered these lines. Kind of creepy. Like I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think part of the problem with watching some of these shows like this now, I think, because of how our culture has gone in the last like 5, 10 years or so, I think hearing these lines at that time, we probably wouldn't have even thought the way that we think now.
Yeah,
But now going back and hearing it, it's like, did he really say that? Like what? Like
yeah.
whereas back then I feel like we wouldn't have even picked up on that context of it.
It's like, can you say that?
Yeah. That I think everybody just has porn brain too.
Yeah,
So every
it's
time they hear
not.
something
It's
they
how he
immediately
said
think
it.
that.
He said it kind of creepily though. It wasn't even the line itself. It's how he said it. It's like yeah,
Take your
take off her
clothes off.
clothes. I was like, whoa. Like I was like, Barry, I don't know about this, man. Wow. So he finds out the hideout location from the clothes. Man, this episode has a lot of plot in it, is what I put in my notes. There's a
Yes.
lot in this episode. Devil's Gate is a cool name for their hideout. The Flash pulling little pranks on the gang is fun. So the Flash discovers Pike's plan. Chief Cooper obsesses over the dismantled bike he thinks a rival gang did it instead of the Flash. That was kind of weird. Um, he warns Cooper about Pike's plan involving explosive used to break his friends out of jail. Barry's about to pass out and calls Tina on the car phone. It got some technology in this episode, the old car phone. Did you ever have a car phone growing up? I did not.
I did not. I was too young to have one, but my grandfather definitely did when I was in the car with him. So I have seen this. I even used one before.
It, I always wanted to know what it's like, but I know we have cell phones now, but like it'd be kind of
Yeah.
like whatever. It seems kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so yeah, the scene of them driving through the halls, the prisoners, with the motorcycles like driving through the prison with the bikes is a little comedic, but well shot and cool looking at the same time. Like there's a lot of that in this show where there's like some is kind of funny, but like I like where your head's at, and also this shot is kind of cool, so it kind of saves it a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, he lets all the prisoners out and arms them. Some shots are so stylish they could work in black and white. Like there's a lot of shots in this that I feel like if it was in a black and white movie, it would fit perfectly too. Like there's a lot of just stylish stuff going on in this episode.
Agreed.
Yeah. Barry's now recovered after some medical treatment from Tina. She wants him to stay because his burnout is unpredictable and he could be killed. I'm not your husband, Tina. It's not gonna happen again. Man, Barry, come on, bro. I'm trying to root for you here, man. Um, oh, by the way, like between Caitlyn and her, like with the dead like husband, that kind of, except this guy never comes back. But like, like the other one did. So
Yeah, the 2014 show drew a lot of inspiration, I think, from some of these characters with the way that they set them up. They all have very similar archetypes, but different names and different backstories, but it's all kind of the same.
yeah. The cops and criminals are at a standstill until the Flash arrives to stop them. Pike abandons Lila and the gang like a coward once the gas funnels into the prison. Tear gas courtesy of the Flash. Also,
Also, I
oh,
was
go
so
ahead.
surprised by the way that the prisons were that accessible at that time that they had ramps outside for everyone to just drive their motorcycles into the prison. I didn't think we had that in the 90s where it was that accessible, but good for them, man. Good for Central City being ahead of the curve on that.
It's the 90's, man. What did I tell you? Everything, airports, prisons used to be way more accessible for the public, I guess.
I guess so.
Also love that Bellows sees the Flash briefly in the binoculars before he vanishes, calling him the Red Ghost. Like that was very much, you see that repeated in the credits later in the show. Very like comic booky. I really like how that was shot. This
Yeah.
show is so good. So I like the tunnels the Flash confronts Pike in. And then speaking of the DC, like other DC properties, I know this next line probably gave you vibes of, and I can help you out if you don't remember, but probably gave you vibes of like another Batman related show. There's a moment where the Flash is confronting Pike about his brother being dead. And he's like, I killed a lot of men's brothers. Like gives off vibes of Blight and Batman Beyond, where like he's just like, you killed my father, and he's like, do you realize how much that doesn't narrow things down? Like very
Yeah.
similar. Like I like that moment.
Agree.
Yeah. Barry gets burned out before taking his revenge, giving Pike the opportunity to kick his ass. The Flash quickly recovers and confronts Pike. I love the lightning bolt on the moon, a side effect of the blown up transformer. Once again, taking inspiration from 89 with the Batwing on the moon and that version. Like I like that they're like, I don't know, it's a cool moment, and like it's definitely like you can tell 89 was such a heavy influence. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the Flash does not run around. Well, he runs around at night sometimes on the CW, but it's not exclusively at like seems like nighttime in this one.
Yeah, it definitely felt very much like nighttime costumed hero out and about. But it also helps with that darker tone and the vengefulness of it, but still adding that campy element, I think, with the lightning bolt.
Definitely. He beats up Pike, then whirlwinds him up and electrocutes him before taking him. I like that he doesn't kill him, like, because I thought that's where things were headed. Did you think he was gonna
Mhm.
kill him, or?
Yeah, because it was the 90's.
Yeah.
I really thought that. Wow. Speaking of lightning bolts,
Oh yeah. Oof. We better wrap this up pretty soon before one of us gets struck. But
that was close. Yeah.
yeah. Um, they're gonna continue. Oh wait, hold on. He led Tina on a wild goose chase to protect her, but says it's partially because he cares about her and didn't want her to get hurt. I wish they get wait, hold on. I wish they get together with how she looks at him. Like she looks at him like they're in love, basically. Like they did great in this
Yeah.
episode. They're going to continue their work and his hero work despite potential unknowns. He has faith in her. I refuse, you'll do it anyway, right? He nods, smiling. Well, the truth is, I have faith in you too. I love this moment. This moment, by the way, gets called back when he appears in the CW thing. Like they show this scene in that
Oh,
show.
really? Okay.
Yeah. So we
Good.
got that to look forward to. Um, so it's fun seeing Julio and Iris spend time with Barry's family at the dinner table when he spends time with Jay's son outside, telling him fun memories of his dad giving him his father's medal. I thought that was nice just seeing people that I'm sure haven't really interacted that much, like Julio and like them being in there like eating with Barry's family and them all kind of seeming uncomfortable in some ways.
Yeah, I thought it was a really touching scene though out on the front porch.
Oh yeah. Um Jay didn't get beaten, he just ran out of track, is what Barry says. I like that they both
Yep.
miss him, and he says he'll be there for Sean whenever he needs him. I couldn't run like your dad, but I'll be there in a flash. Like I like that was
Yeah.
good. You were about to say something.
Oh no, I was gonna literally agree with you on all that. That's if we were to do heart humor spectacle, that's my heart right there.
Oh, it's going there. Don't worry. It's for one of mine. But so it ends how it began with the Flash's symbol. This 1 hour premiere was originally packaged later as a Flash movie, like we talked later. A lot of these episodes were added together into sequels.
Yeah.
Um, so overall, for me, and then we'll go to you, and we'll do our heart, humor, and spectacle after that, and then the lightning bolts. Overall, a great episode between the music, the sets, the writing, and the characters. This show should be remembered more than it is. And then my heart would be that scene. The humor would be just trying to think. Just mostly the scenes between him and Julio are a lot of fun. And then spectacle would be I have to give it to that one scene where he's like carrying her and running around the racetrack. Like that scene has stuck with me since I first watched this episode like years ago, and I think I'd give it I have to give it like 4 out of 5 lightning bolts. How about yourself?
Yeah, man. So I really enjoyed this again, first time watch, but it took me back to how I used to feel with a lot of the stuff, that we kind of grew up on. I like the tone of this more than I like the tone of the CW show.
Hmm.
Well, only one episode in, of course, so I know a lot of that's going to change later on.
Let's just
Um,
enjoy it while it's here.
yeah, exactly. I'm sure. Heart is definitely that scene on the porch where he's speaking to Jay's son and just telling him, like you said, I'll be there in a flash if you need me. I think his acting was really on display there. Humor, I'd probably say I really thought the Thai food thing was funny because he came back and every time she kept trying to question like, how did you get there so fast? He just like kept like kissing her or whatever and like just trying to get her to shut up and eat the food.
Yeah, that was great.
And spectacle, I have to go with the lightning bolt across the moon just because it's so reminiscent of that time frame for me. I would give it 3 out of 5 lightning bolts total.
Fair.
But I really
Oh,
enjoyed.
why the lower rating? Any reason or?
Oh no, so 3 out of 5 means just regular average for me. If I could go 3.5, I'll go 3.5.
You can do 3.5, man. It's our show. Do what you want.
Fair enough. I'm going 3.5 then. It's
There we go.
it's fair.
Almost close. But yeah, definitely this was one of those shows that was I guess like in hindsight now kind of like in some ways formative to me. The CW show way more than that, but like this show also holds a place in my heart. I actually got to I'm sure I brought it up before, but I got to meet John Wesley Shipp in person like years and years and years ago. And it was during the first season, or maybe the first or second season of the Flash show. It's when it was brand new, the CW
Yeah.
one. And I remember when I went there and my friend had like a Star Labs shirt and he was just like, how'd you get that? That's like on the show. Like we had like a little moment. And I brought I still have it, my box set of the Flash TV series and like he signed it and everything. So that was like a really cool moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool stuff.
That's huge, man. Yeah, he seems like a really good guy, and I actually like him a lot. So I
Yeah, he's
agree.
really likable. I can't wait to get the Blu-ray just to see how much those effects don't hold up. But like
Yep.
honestly, I'm sure the visuals will look great. I just want to see how it looks in HD. I know on the unofficial lens there was it got taken down, but there was an episode like the pilot, like a fan had up-resed it and like made it like true like HD and everything. I remember that one looking pretty good. Like so
Yeah.
I don't really have a way to compare them, but like I'm sure it'll be about the same. But yeah,
Yeah.
um,
You got to
but
get him to sign that too.
yeah, somehow. But so this has been a great episode. We're gonna be going into we're not quite out of the 90s Central City yet. Next time we'll be covering the first Trickster episode with the man himself, Mark Hamill, before he played the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, and we'll see how close things are to the it's going to feel like a live action animated series episode. I'm just going to go ahead and say that up front, but we got that to look forward to. So yeah. So if you want to go ahead and do your where people can find you first, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll just go ahead and wrap the show up.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Will. You can obviously find me on here, and you can find me on the It's Up podcast coming back probably here in I think or I think we're looking at about 2 months out right now, starting that
Nice.
new season.
Always like watching your guys coverage and commentary on things, so I look forward to hearing that. But
Yeah, it's been tough not being able to give commentary on some of the stuff that's been out recently too. So
yeah. Definitely. And then for me, you can obviously find me here and Will on Flashbacks, a Flash Rewatch podcast. I also do a show with my beautiful wife, Night of the Batman. It's a Batman related show where we talk everything Batman. We're about to wrap up our coverage pretty soon of the Night and Court of Owls stuff from the New 52. So like we're almost done covering that. That's been really fun and exciting. She's been getting really into it, which I'm thrilled by. Kind of like I'm thrilled how you got into the Flash 90s show. That's awesome. And then I also have Tangential Exchange. Me and Trip recorded something short recently. I might release that or I might wait till we get a little bit more. That one's much more me and him just get drunk and kind of just talk about stuff, make each other laugh. That's our most laid back show. And then we have What Mean that I'm gonna probably bring back just whenever I feel passionate about something and it necessarily doesn't fit some of the different podcasts I have. So yeah, so look forward to that. And if unless you had anything else, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
Oh, just a lot of good DC content coming out. Hopefully, if you guys want us to, let us know if you want us to cover something like the Crisis on Infinite Earths movies that have been coming out.
Yeah,
Lots of good Kevin Conroy stuff on there. I don't know if you guys are going to talk about that on Night of the Batman.
I have
And then
thoughts.
I believe Creature Commandos comes out at the end of the year to kick off the DCU.
I'm excited to see what we have to look forward to. And then also, if you guys haven't watched it, and Will, you as well, My Adventures with Superman, the animated
Yeah,
show
season
is
two.
so good. Are you current?
I'm not current, but I need to be because I love Superman. It's one
When
of my
you're
favorite characters of all time.
when you're current, call me. We'll have like a talk about it because I gotta have somebody, me and Amanda will talk about it too. But like have somebody else kind of go back and forth about like all the different coolness that's happened this season. And then speaking of DC, we have the Cape Crusader series coming out like pretty
Oh
soon.
yes,
Yeah.
bro. That's what I'm most excited for right there, I think.
10 episodes out on
Yep.
like August. Is it like first? Whatever.
It's in August.
Yeah, yeah, you guys can look it up yourself. You got internet. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this up here. I'm Alex,
I'm Will.
and we will see you in the Speed Force. All right.